Did you know that birth control pills can actually increase your risk of developing heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, as well as breast cancer, liver and gallbladder problems, cramping, nausea, and headaches? Yeah, it's true. In fact, people are experiencing this every single day. In fact, about 25% of women between the age of 15 and 44 are taking birth control pills. And out of that group of women, 14% of them are not taking them to prevent against a pregnancy, but instead they're taking them to treat things like acne or to prevent against painful menstrual cramps or heavy menstrual cycles, cramping, things like fibroids and cysts. So oral contraceptives and birth control pills are some of the most prescribed medications out there, but they are causing significant problems. In fact, research has shown that they increase your risk of nutrient deficiencies. In fact, a study showed that some of the main nutrient deficiencies that they deplete are things like vitamin C, vitamin E, folate, which is vitamin B9, as well as vitamin B2, riboflavin, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12, as well as key minerals like magnesium, selenium, and zinc. And when you deplete those nutrients, you're gonna have a lot of unwanted problems. In fact, your risk of developing cancer, of developing blood clots, heart disease, stroke, different issues like that, it's all gonna go up. And so when we break down birth control pills, this is what we're looking at. Number one is combination birth control is a combination of estrogen and progesterone, and it's designed to help stop ovulation. And you take it, typically you take the active dose for roughly about 21 to 24 days out of your cycle, and then you take a sugar pill or an inactive dose for 4 to 7 days. And for many women, they still have their menstrual cycle, but they don't actually ovulate, so they're not actually fertile, and they can't get pregnant that way. And it's a combination of estrogen and their synthetic hormones, synthetic estrogen, synthetic progesterone, that are associated with those effects. So that's what you're taking there in the combination pill. There are many women that have really bad side effects from taking the synthetic estrogen. So they'll take what's called the mini pill, and that is a progesterone only, a synthetic form of progesterone, and it causes a thinning of the uterine wall and thickens the cervical mucus. And therefore, it makes it hard for implantation, and so the woman is less likely to develop a pregnancy. And so that's how those medications work, those oral contraceptives. And again, so many women are taking these not even to prevent against fertility, but also to treat a wide range of different hormone-based disorders. But again, a 2013 review showed that when you're taking oral contraceptives, it actually depletes your body of key B vitamins like riboflavin, vitamin B2, folate, vitamin B12, vitamin B6, selenium, zinc, magnesium, vitamin E, as well as vitamin C. And again, those nutrients are so critical for a number of different things. And this is why women who are taking oral contraceptives have an increased risk of blood clotting disorders, not only from the synthetic estrogen, but also when you reduce the amount of folate, vitamin B12, vitamin B6, and magnesium in your blood, you're gonna end up with higher amounts of homocysteine. Homocysteine is an inflammatory byproduct of methionine metabolism, and homocysteine damages the blood vessel wall and creates plaquing in the blood vessels, which will increase blood clots, right? And increase your risk of heart disease as well as stroke. And so when you're depleting these nutrients, you are gonna have further health problems. And that's one of the unfortunate truths about taking oral contraceptives. A 2020 systemic review showed that taking oral contraceptives actually creates structural and functional changes in different areas of the brain, including the amygdala, your hippocampus, your prefrontal cortex, and your cingulate gyrus. And this actually increases a woman's risk of developing mood disorders like anxiety and depression, as well as suicidal tendencies. According to a 2023 study, taking birth control pills actually increase a woman's risk of developing depression by 79% within the first 2 years of taking these medications. So this happens pretty quickly. These nutrients become depleted, there's structural and functional changes that take place in the brain, and a woman will often experience things like depression, anxiety as well. And then suicidal risk actually increases by taking these medications. Studies have shown that birth control pills also cause disruptions in the gut microbiome and increase the risk of candida overgrowth. And this just goes into the same challenges with the structural and functional changes in the brain, because Candida releases gliotoxin as well as acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde actually acts like almost like alcohol poisoning in the brain. So people that have Candida overgrowth are actually poisoning their brain with acetaldehyde and triggering high levels of brain inflammation with gliotoxin. And this may be one of the reasons why women that are taking oral contraceptives have a higher rate of depression and anxiety. And so those disruptions in the gut also increase the risk of developing autoimmune disease. When you have more inflammation in the gut, it causes leaky gut syndrome or intestinal permeability. And now large undigested food particles, as well as bacteria and bacterial toxins, seep into the bloodstream. And now the immune system targets those large undigested proteins, the pathogens, the different endotoxins like lipopolysaccharides. And over time, not only does that create systemic inflammation, but over time that can actually trigger a full-blown autoimmune condition. And women who are taking oral contraceptives have an increased risk of developing things like lupus, as well as interstitial cystitis, inflammatory bowel diseases like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, as well as a wide range of other different types of autoimmune conditions. Hashimoto's thyroiditis would be another common one that women taking oral contraceptives end up developing, where they have autoimmunity affecting their thyroid tissue. Why? Because of leaky gut syndrome, nutrient deficiencies, and chronic systemic inflammation in the body. Additionally, taking birth control pills also disrupts liver function, and research has shown that women that are taking oral contraceptives tend to have higher liver enzymes. They have more liver tissue damage, higher liver enzymes, and poor sluggish liver function. So they're not able to deactivate and detoxify chemical toxins that are coming into their body, including all these different xenoestrogens that are coming in from cosmetics, that are coming in from plastics and food and water and all this stuff that we're being exposed to. They're not able to process and detoxify it as effectively, and therefore it increases inflammation throughout the body. So a wide range of different problems that oral contraceptives, birth control pills, can cause. Finally, taking birth control pills may actually increase a woman's chance of developing cancer. In fact, the National Cancer Institute estimates that taking birth control pills will increase the risk of cancer in 1 out of 8 individuals. And if a woman takes birth control pills before she has her first child, it actually increases her risk of developing breast cancer by 44%. Now, why is that? It's because this synthetic estrogen has a strong growth signal on the breast cells. That strong growth signal causes the breast cells to grow faster and replicate faster. On top of that, this synthetic estrogen also depletes zinc. And zinc is really critical for the p53 gene, which is kind of the guardian of the cell genome. When p53 is functioning well, it will actually signal and cause cellular apoptosis when the cell becomes damaged. So when there's damage to the DNA, the cell should naturally kill itself, and it should be replaced by a young, stress-resilient stem cell. When p53 becomes damaged, and zinc is really critical for helping keep the p53 gene functioning well, so when it becomes damaged, now it's no longer able to turn on that cell guardian switch, and now oxidative stress rusts out the cell, and we end up developing cancer cells. So zinc is critical for keeping oxidative stress in these breast cells under control, and for activating that p53 gene to help turn on the cellular apoptotic switch for programmed cell suicide to get rid of the damaged cell. And we're deficient in zinc, and oral contraceptives are a main factor in depleting zinc levels. When we have a zinc deficiency, we're not able to get the proper activation of p53 gene, which increases our risk of developing breast cancer. So as you can see, oral contraceptives, birth control pills, have a number of different risks. And you may have been taking them for some period of time, but now it's really time to heal. If you're looking to prevent a pregnancy, there's a whole lot of natural solutions that you can use. You can read all about them. I'll have a link in the show notes where you can read about all the different natural fertility methods that are less hazardous to the body than taking birth control pills. And many of them work even better actually for preventing pregnancy than birth control pills. But you also want to focus on healing your body. Start with an anti-inflammatory, protein-rich, nutrient-rich diet. I always say maximize nutrients, minimize toxins. Eat a diet high in protein, right, from grass-fed animal products, wild-caught fish. Eat lots of high polyphenol, colorful fruits and vegetables, healthy fats like high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil, avocados, coconut oil, grass-fed butter. So consume a really good blood sugar stabilizing diet, keep stress under control, prioritize good sleep, get regular exercise, including strength training, get out in the sun, get out in nature on a regular basis, and then do things to help support good liver detoxification and gut health. Taking a high quality probiotic can be helpful. Taking a good liver support supplement, something with maybe milk thistle or dandelion, can be really helpful. Things with N-acetylcysteine to help support glutathione pathways. Take a really good multivitamin to make sure you're supplementing and replacing all your key B vitamins, your folate, your vitamin B12, your vitamin B6. I recommend methylated forms of these nutrients. So P5P form of vitamin B6, pyridoxal 5-phosphate. I recommend methylcobalamin form of B12, methylfolate form of folate, vitamin B2, riboflavin. You want to make sure that your multivitamin's got vitamin C, vitamin E, it's got zinc, high quality zinc, as well as selenium and magnesium in there as well to replace those nutrients that you may have lost from taking birth control pills. Again, support your liver, support your gut health, right, with a good diet, good detoxification strategies. If you do that, you're going to rebuild your health and your life. You're going to reduce your risk of developing cancer. You're going to reduce your risk of depression, anxiety, and the different mood disorders, of developing insulin resistance, of developing all-cause heart disease, stroke, blood clots, all the different negative things we talked about in association with oral contraceptives. You can regain your health. You can heal from birth control related illnesses, and you can really function and thrive in life. So start taking action today. Get off of those oral contraceptives. Start changing your diet and your lifestyle and start allowing your body to heal the way it was designed today.